Hello and good evening, everybody. So we are going to start with our fourth day for the HTML CSS Essentials. Good evening. For a quick check, if I'm audible, just let me know in the chat if I'm audible. You can see my screen and everything is working fine. So just drop me a quick message. And today we are going to learn about. So we can start with our cloning for the Apple. So for today, why don't we just create? Let me just start with Big Bang. We'll just create this first page here. So this one. So we'll create this page and yeah. So we are going to create this page apple.com. So today we are going to create this one and let's see what we can do. Hello, audible. That's great. And don't forget to mark your attendance. Marking attendance is very important. You will get a scale there. So on the scale, you can mark like 1 to 10 here. So before starting, I just want to tell you about two concepts that we haven't covered right till yet, and that is CSS units, and the next one is why I was using this property here. So this border box. So I'll cover this like what is this border box and all, and also about these units because we need these units a lot. So we are going to use these units so many times. So it's better for us to already know about this. Like, मैं क्या करने वाला हूँ? Yeah, good evening. So we can start. So first of all, let me just remove everything from here. So this is what we did yesterday. And let us create a quick division here so that I can tell you about this property box sizing here. Box sizing the border box. For that, I'm just, by the way, till now we have covered flex, animation by using transition. And maybe if we have more time, we can just create some more advanced animations. So let's see if we can do that as well. We have got, covered all the basic things like how you can select some elements and some more things. And rest of the things we are just going to learn as we are going to create the project directly. So before that, let me just create a div here so that I can just tell you about what was that border box. So I'm just going to give it an ID of, let's say, a box here. And let me just grab this box by the ID. And let's just give it a background color of red and some height. Height of 100 pixels and width of 100 pixels. And so let's see. Yeah, so we have our box here. So this is the box. And notice one thing. So I just want to tell you about the border box, and that is if I'm just going to so right now it's height and width is 100 pixels, right? So if I'll just give it some border, let's say border of, let's say, 50 pixels of solid and black, and if I give it a save, now you can see that uh, let me just make it 25. 50 is too much. 25 here. So now you can see that the height of our box is increased, right? Previously it was just 100 pixel. So initially I just gave it a height of 100 pixel, but right now it's for sure it is not 100 pixel because 100 pixel is not this much. If I'm going to remove this like this, so this is 100 pixels here. So this much is 100 pixel. But if I provided the border of 25 pixel, it actually getting increased. So what is happening here? So on the basis of our height, it is also adding the border as well. So 25 here, 25 here. So right now the total height is 150 pixels, right? And if I do this, let's say if I also add some padding here, for the padding, let's just add 25 pixels of padding as well, like this. And you can see the height and width of the box is increasing much more. So right now it's almost 200, it's actually 200 pixels. And if you don't want this to happen, if you don't want your containers or divisions size to increase, all you have to do is to go over here, select everything and give it a box sizing of border box. And now you can see that it's not increasing. So no matter how much border or the padding you're going to give, it will try to adjust everything inside the 100 pixel only. So now we can trust our height and width. So this is what I want. I just want to trust my height and the width values. So right now it's no matter how much value I'm just going to provide it for the border or for the padding, it will try to stay in the limit of 100 pixels only. So that was the border box. If I'm just going to remove it, in this case, it is going to add this 100 pixels of border and 100 pixels of padding on the top of 100 pixels of width and 100 pixels of height. So sorry, I think I misspelled something. Anyways, 10 pixel of border and 5 pixels of padding. So this is what I don't want to, so I'm just going to give it a border box. So by this, I'm selecting everything. So remember this selector. So it's actually going to select every element from your HTML. Just remove any unnecessary margin, any unnecessary padding. And this is the font I'm selecting, so that this is the font which will be available throughout my application. So this is what I'm doing here. And if you don't do this, so you will see that now you have some unnecessary margin and the unnecessary padding. And this is the margin padding actually given by the browser. So right now the browser I'm using is Chrome. So Chrome, and please ignore my handwriting here. So the Chrome is actually applying these things, and this is not what I want. So I'll just remove it completely by doing this property here. Right, so this was actually about the border box. And now moving to the next topic, let me just ask you, like, if it is clear, the border box, what is the purpose of border box and all? If it is clear, so we can move to the next part, and which is CSS units. Like we have pixels, ram, vh, vw, percentages. So what are these units? So we are going to cover that. Yeah, hello. And if you don't have any doubt in the border box, so that in that case we'll move to the next part. Let me just hide it here like this. Okay, so shall we move to the next part? अरे लाइव है अभी अपन की नहीं है यार. Are we live? Hey chat, please respond something. Say something like, okay, good evening. Yeah, good evening. It's not actually what I asked, but it's still good evening. Okay, that's great. So the next topic is CSS units. So for this, I'm just going to refer the official documentation for this, not official, but from here, let's see how many types of units we have. So it's again going to be very easy. So what is units? Units are actually same as we use in the real life. Like we have centimeter, meter, right? So I'm just going to give it a height of, let's say, 10 centimeter. Now it's 10 centimeter. The height of this thing is 10 centimeter. But we don't use 10 centimeter in CSS. What we use instead is actually the pixels. So it's the most basic unit, pixels. Then we have VH. What is this VH is here? So let me just give it, let's say 50 VH. What is this VH? It says viewport height. So if I write here 50 VH, by this I mean 50% of the height that you have in your viewport. So this is the 100. If I'm going to give it 100 VH, so it's actually going to take up the 100% of the height, like 100% of the viewport height. So this is the height I have right now. Let's suppose it's 1000 pixels. Let's suppose it is 1000 pixels. So if I give it something a value of 50 VH, so the height will be of 500 pixels. So if I'm going to give it, let's say 100 VH like this. So now the height of this particular box is of 100% of the height which is available for you in your screen. Like we have VW as well. So VW is same, but the only difference is VW will work with the width here. So it will actually the width, how much percentage of the width you want. So if I write here, let's say 50 VW, 50 VW. So the width of your container is actually going to be 50% of the view width which is available right now. So suppose my total view width available is 500 pixels. So if I give it 50 VW, that means the width will be actually of 250 pixels. So this is one of the most convenient property that you can very easily use, not that difficult. And I hope it is clear. And if yes, so we can move to the next topic. And which is okay. So these are the units that you can use: centimeter, millimeter, pixels, points, PC. And like we don't use these much. We generally use pixels first of all, then VW, VH, and the EM and the RAM. So these are the units that we use most oftenly. So I'm just going to tell you about the EM and the RAM here. Okay, let me just bring it here. No, Utpal, we use mostly, there's a catch why we use EM and RAM. It helps us to create responsive websites very easily. So that's the reason here. Now let's just understand about the RAM and the EM here. So first, let's just understand the about RAM. So for that, inside this division, I'm also going to create another division here. Inside this here, let me just create another div here, and let me just give it an ID of inner box like this. And let me just grab this inner box instead of the box here, and let's also grab the box. And for the box, let me just give some amount of background, some background color. Let's just go with this color, and also some padding, PEING, padding of 10 pixels. Let's just increase this to 30 pixels. Okay, so I have a box now, and inside the box I have the inner box. So this blue thing that you're seeing, I hope it's blue, aquamarine. So this is your box, and inside the box you have another box with the height and the width of 50-50 VH, right? Let me just change this thing to something else, and that is let's say make it 3 RAM, 3 EM, and let's also change it to 3 EM. So too little. Let me just change it to 6 here and save it. Okay, so this is what I'm getting here. So what is this EM here? What is the amount EM is? So actually, it is related to the font size you have inside your parent. Let me repeat myself. So it depends on the font size you have on your parent here. So suppose if the font size in my parent is, let's say, 10 pixels like this. Yeah, let me just make it 20. So this EM is actually related to the font size of the parent here. So right now the font size is 20 pixels. So 6 EM means 60 multiplied by the font size of the parent, which is 20 here. So 60 multiplied by 20, and you will get 120 here. So that's why the actual height and the width here is 120 pixels. I can also replace this with 120 pixels, and you can see that I'm getting the exact same result here. So you can write 6 EM or 120 pixels. It's gonna be same. By default, if you don't provide any font size, by default the font size is 16. By default, if you don't provide any font size here, it's actually 16. So here it's 6 multiplied by 16, and I think it's like क्या हुआ 3 हुआ यहाँ पे 6 और carry यहाँ पे I think it's 96. So it's 96 pixels here. So I can remove this and I can write it into 96 pixels. Okay, so my math is correct here. Okay, so this is what about the EM is. So EM is actually a value which is related to the parent font size. Likewise, we have REM. So what is this REM? REM is actually the font size of the root element, and the root element is HTML here. So whatever the font size you have in the root element, so let me just give it. By default, it's going to be 16 pixels. If I change it to 20, as you can see here, so this is our root element. HTML is our root element. So REM and EM are both same. The only difference is EM will depend on the parent container. What are the parent your font size of the parent is. But REM will actually going to connect itself to the root element, which is HTML. So it will be always same. It will be HTML. By default, the font size in the HTML is 16 pixels, and you can change it anytime you want. And why we use this RAM instead of simple values? Suppose for now, let's say font size is 20 pixels, right? And if I switch to a very small screen, so right now it's very small already. So right now, suppose if I switch to very huge screen here, so I can write a media query here. So we are going to understand about the media query as well. So here I can write the media query, which can and in the media query I can just change the amount of HTML, a font size in the HTML, like this. So this is media query. We are going to cover that, so don't worry about this. So we will cover that in very briefly. But so this is what here is. So I'm changing the root font size, and it will automatically affect all the height and width of the containers, division, everything inside my document. So if I increase it, as you can see, the box size is getting increased, and if I decrease it, font size, this height and width of my box is getting decreased. So we will cover that later, but for now you just need to understand this REM is connected to the font size of the root element. So this is what you have to get from this small session that we have so far. So is it clear, RAM and EM? And if yes, so we can move to the next part. Let me just close the camera for a minute. Yeah, hello, everybody's here. So if it is clear, so we can basically move to this first part. So then we are just going to create this first homepage, and we'll create this nav and all. And what let me just see the Apple website. It's actually my first time seeing this website here. Okay, so then we have this animation, and I'm pretty sure this animation is mm, predefined or something like that. Mm, href, go to the gift. Mm, it's anchor tag here, self wrapper, the unit copy wrapper, wow yourself and presentation, shop for the holiday. Okay, so it's just an image. So it's actually just an image here. Theme dark. Okay, so is it clear? Yeah, great. So let's just create this very first page, and for that, let me just remove everything. I'm just going to remove till here because the border box, that is what I need here. So it's actually let me create a div, and let me just give it an ID of header. There's also a semantic tag with the name of header. If you want, you can use it. It will act as it will be same as the division. So there's no difference between header tag and the div tag. Only difference is it's little easy for us to read like what we are actually creating. And also the second thing is it will increase the SEO of our website, so that any website, any Google and all the search engine can basically find our website very easily, and they can read our about our website very easily. So that's I use these semantic tags. So there are some few semantic tags. Let me just show it to you. Semantic tags in HTML. There are some semantic tags. So article, aside, details, figure, footer, header, main, mark, nav. So it's and this is a general layout that you will see for any website. So if you want, you can use semantic tags. That's not that much required, but I'll suggest you to go with the semantic tag if you can. Okay, so that's why I will just use the semantic tags directly here. So inside this we have h1. Inside the h1 we have a text iPhone 14, not 15, 14 here. Then we have a paragraph after this. Paragraph big and bigger. I think B is smaller, bigger, big and bigger here. And then we have two buttons. So for that, I'm going to create a division here. If inside this division, I'm actually going to create these two anchors here. A, and it says learn more and an arrow sign, and second is by an arrow sign. And then I have a image tag. Okay, so let's just create a division, and inside this division we'll have our image tag. Let's see what we are getting. Okay, so this is what we have here. So I think it's pretty good. First of all, let me just get this image. Open link. This I don't like this about the Apple website. They don't provide the proper images link. Open a new tab. So it will actually open it in a new browser. So inspect here. So they are actually having a local image, and this is not what I want. We have to get this image somehow. So where is the image? Like they are actually getting the image from their local assets, and it's an anchor tag which is just taking them to a new page here. Uh, uh, uh. Otherwise, we'll just get the image from somewhere else. Headline. This is what, and okay. And where is the image? Hmm, a unit wrapper figure. Okay, so we have to get the image from somewhere else. So like this, and now we get the image. It was a little difficult to get this image, but somehow we got this. So let me just use the image here in our code. Let me just go over here and let's just paste this image. And this is the image we are getting, which actually having a very huge width, which is and we don't want this. So let me just give this division a ID of image, or let's say image, yeah, no, container image container. And then inside this, let me just give it an ID of image photo, or photo iPhone photo. Let me just give it iPhone photo, iPhone photo here, like this. And inside our classes, let me just give the image container. Let's just give it a width of 100 VW. I just want to give it a width of 100 VW, not more than that. This is the width I want to give it. And let's also grab the iPhone photo here, and let's also give it the width and height of 100 pixels. Okay, so this is what we are getting. Let me explain what I actually did here. So all I did, first of all, I just gave it a height with the container. So I just gave this container. So this is the container which is actually going to contain the image for us. If you don't want to use it, you can literally remove it. So I just added it for the access security and all. But if you want, you can remove it, and you can directly grab the header here. So let's just grab the header and let's just give it a width of 100 VW, 100% or 100 VW. So both are actually same. So I'm giving this header, this whole thing, a width of 100 VW. So this is the first thing I'm doing here. Okay, here. Grid with the header and footer. Grid, if you can please use the grid and footer. Yeah, I can use the grid and footer, but then in that case, I also have to explain you the grid, right? So that is going to be some extra work. And the second thing, so I think where's our website, like here? So we have our image here. So I can remove the container, and I'm going to give this image a width of 100%. So I'm also giving this width of 100 pixel and the height of 100%. I can remove the height, by the way. So it will be a little ugly. So I think this much is great. An object fit cover. So there are so many types of values that you can provide for the image, and that is like cover, contain. It will be just trying to, if you provide the contain, suppose, let me just explain you this. So this is the container you have. Suppose inside this container you have an image, and obviously image will be have some weird aspect ratio. Some images are longer, some images are like wider like this, some images are square and all, right? And you want to fit this image inside this container. So if you're going to give it a property of contain, object fit of contain, now in that case, this division is actually going to try to fit this image inside of this. So suppose the image is very long, so you will get image like this. So this is our image. If you give it to the property of contain, if the image is very wide, so you will get this kind of result here. So this is our image, and this is the container, and because you have given the property of object fit contain, right? And the second way is to give it a property of cover here. In the case of cover, it will actually stretch itself and it will try to cover everything. So it will try to cover the every part of the image. So it will just zoom out, zoom in a bit. So it will actually going to zoom in, and then suppose you have a longer image, so you will actually lose some of the image from the left side and from the right side. And if your image is taller, in that case it will zoom itself, so that it will try to fit inside your box. That's it. But in that case you will lose some part of your image. In our case the left and right side of this image was actually just a white screen. So that's why I just give it a property of cover, and it is looking great now. And you can also give it some more property like contain, yeah, contain we have already covered. Fill, like this. So fill will try to basically squeeze the image inside of this box. So suppose if your image is very wider, in that case it will squeeze the image so that it can fit inside. Every part of your image should fit inside this box here. And if your image is taller, and then in that case it will squeeze the image from top to bottom so that it can fit inside this box. So that's all. Most of the time you will just go with the cover, like 90% of the time you will use the cover directly. Yep. And let me just do one more thing here. Let me wrap this whole extra thing inside another box like this. So this whole thing inside this box, our division. So here we have our text, and a good thing that you have always you should do is to one thing we can do here, like we can give it a background as a background cover as well. So let me just remove this from here, and why don't we just give it a background image? So this is also possible. Background image property, and let me just give it a URL here, and in the URL you can paste it. I think I'm forgetting something. Save it. uh, 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 what is the thing? छोटी मोटी चीज कोई बोल रहा हूँ, कवर करो एंड सेंटर में रखना है, पर वो दिख क्यों नहीं रहा है? Hmm, let me just see what's the problem here. Maybe I'm just forgetting some small thing or some silly thing. No worries. Let's remove it from here. Only thing I just want to tell you, you can just give something. You can also use the background image as a. You can also use the background image as a photo. So this is also possible. I think I was forgetting some syntax and all. Let me just check it. Background image. Let's see what was the syntax here. Uh, 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 okay, so it was correct. So why it was not showing up? Like I have given the proper URL and everything. Set the image as the background. Yeah, yeah, that is what I was trying to do here. So let's just grab the header here. Yeah, I know the problem. What was the problem? So actually the problem was, and let's see if it's gonna work. Hmm. So this was the problem. Actually, there was a problem with this. So first problem was this. This is the problem first, and we fixed it. Let me just remove the string first of all, like this. Um, it should actually work, but I don't know why it's not showing up here. The image path is very much correct here. And I'm also checking the syntax. It's not that important. We could have used the image, so that's not, it's not that important, but still it should work. Let me just provide the URL here, like this, and let's run it. Mm, okay, and background position to curve center. Okay. So the problem was actually there was a background image, but the problem was the background image is very very long. So what I did, so if you try to give any container or anything, like you can actually give something a background image like this. Just provide the property background image, then just write here a URL, and you can just write pass the URL of the image, or if you have the image inside your files and all, you can provide the path as well. And what this is what we did here, but the problem was the image is actually very long, so you can basically position the image. So this is what we have to do. So so suppose this is my box here, and I want to give this box a background image, and suppose my image is like this, a very tall image, something like this. So if I'm going to trying to give this thing as a background image, it will be here. But suppose you just have some text inside this, so some text here. Let me just create a flower here, suppose. So if you try to give this a background image, the end result you will see. So you have your background image here, and your flower is actually here, like this. So that was actually happening. So you can just give the position to the center. Now what it will do, it is just going to move the center of your container and the center of your image. So it will try to match the center of your container and the center of the image. So in that case, the next result you will see that you will have a result like this. So as soon as you give something this property now, so you'll get this thing. So some of the image will be on the top, like it will be get ignored, and some unnecessary part here, and in the center you will get the flower. So in our case, our image was actually very long, so the iPhone photo was on the right side. So that's why I just like पता नहीं कैसे वो दिमाग से निकल गया. So now we have our proper background image here, and the next thing, let me just check for the font they are using. So right click, inspect. I think it's an image again. They are using an image. So what is the font they are using? So we have to get the proper font. So this is the text, and let me just look for the font they are using. Font family, font family, SF Pro display. So this is the font they are using. SF Pro icons and Helvetica. Okay. So this is the font we were using. So let's just get this font like this. Mm, so it's actually the paid font, I think Google font. Let me just get the from the Google font. SF Pro. So it's very difficult to get their original font, or we can get something. So this is the actual font used by the Apple, but I don't want to get the font offline. So I'll just look for a font that will look good here, that will resemble this font, the font we have here. So let's just try to get a font which look like this, because fonts are very important. It actually changes the complete look of your website. So I like to get a proper font. So let's just go with Poppins. Poppins is one of the most popular fonts. So I'll just use this one instead of the SF Pro font they're using. Select all the variants, get the link from here, copy this thing, and just paste it on the very top of this, like this. And let me change the font to Poppins. It's one of the most popular font. You will see this font in many of the apps. Okay. And now the next thing, I just want to bring this thing at the center here. So inside this, let me just remove this and this as well. This as well. Just save it like this. Let's just bring in the right side the CSS. Let me just give it a display property of flex. Display property of flex. So now everything is following the main axis. You can use the property flex direction to change the direction of the. So by doing this, you can change the direction of the what do you say? Actually, the main axis. So by default, the main axis will follow the left to right direction. But if you change the flex direction to column, now your main axis will follow the top to bottom direction. So if you don't provide this property here, so like this, so main axis is from left to right, and we have given a display property of flex here. So that's all the content inside of this box is actually following the main axis, right? And if you can change this, so just change this like this, and now it's following the top to bottom direction. And now just make the justify align no align item center like this. So everything is in the center, but there was a super quick fix. So you could have given the text align center, so it would have given you the same result. But I just wanted to tell you about the display flex direction, so that's why I just added it here. So just do the text align center, and let me just give it a padding on the top here. So padding I just want the padding from the top direction. I don't want the padding from all the four direction. Just do the padding top, and let's just do this 100 pixels. Okay, so this is what we are getting. And now the next thing I want to grab is this form, this paragraph here. So I just want to grab the H1 like this, and let me just give change the size of this. Nope, like this. So the problem is I'm grabbing the H1. I'm just grabbing the H1. So I'm grabbing this H1, iPhone 14 H1, this one. But there's a problem. Can you guess the problem if I try to if I do it like this? So can you guess the problem? Like what will be the problem that I can face later if I try to grab this H1 by using this text selector? Just try to guess the problem that we can face, and then I will tell you the proper solution for this. Yeah, we should have given it no repeat. No, it's what also it's what it was not about the size. It was actually about the position of the background. Like if I have given it a no repeat, so उससे भी कुछ ऐसा होता नहीं. तो repeat तो वैसे भी नहीं हो रही ना वो. एक ही बार तो आई है इमेज इतनी बड़ी है, एक से ज्यादा बार थोड़ी आएगी. Yeah, उत्सव like that's great. Anybody else? Just try to guess it, like what is the problem that I can face if I'm going to grab the H1 like this. Then I'm just going to tell you about a one more selector. Just give me 1 second. Mm, yeah, also you're correct. Yeah, okay, so you got this. So the problem will be if I suppose if I add one more H1 after this. So let's say, let me just close this, and let's remove all the unnecessary space. It's making everything a little cluttered. Let's go over here and let me just add one more H1. And suppose this H1 will say something else. Hey, welcome to Apple or something like that. Welcome, like this. And it is also going to affect this one. So, but I also don't want to give it an ID because I'm very lazy and I don't want to give it ID, and I'm very lazy to give it a class as well. So there is something called as a child selector, and it's very cool selector that you can use. So here I can, instead of doing this, I can do this: select H1, select all the H1s, yeah, which is inside of header. Let me just repeat myself: select all the H1, so select all the H1 which is inside of header. So, and then I can just give it a property like this. Okay, like this here. And let's just remove it to 500 pixels. Yeah. So what I did here, so this is a child selector. So still select all the H1s which is inside of the header here. And in luckily we just have a single H1 which is inside of the header, and I'm 100% sure that I'm not going to have any more H1s inside of this. Like you have already seen the design, so this is our design that we are going to create, and we just have 3-4 elements inside of this, so we are not going to have any more H1s. So instead of creating ID and then we have to remember the ID and it's a lot of work, So instead you can just choose this type of selectors, and it is just going to help you a lot in the long run, right? And the next thing I just want to select all the paragraph from the header, and let us give it some ID as well. And for the padding, let me just decrease the padding a bit, and let's also remove all the necessary. Okay, okay, and I also, do we have any margin bottom? Remove the margin bottom here. Okay, and this on, soon remove this as well. So select all the paragraph inside of the header. Just give them 20 pixel of width, font size. I think it's 20 pixel. Yeah, it's looking good enough. I can just increase it. It's too much. Let's just make it 400. Okay, 400 is great. Let me just decrease the font size to 15, 18, 22. 20 was fine. And same I will do here. So select all the anchor tag which is inside of the header. So this is the next thing I'll do. Select all the anchor tags, and I think, let me just style this. So the color is very much blue here. So let's just get the color that they are using. Inspect, and the color. So this is the color they are using. Let's get the color. We have to use the proper color. So give it this color. So whatever color this is, and think I need to decrease the font size as well. Text decoration none. By text decoration none, what I'm doing, like if I don't do this, all the anchor tags have an underline. I think I have already done this text decoration none somewhere. Okay, just make it text decoration none, so you won't get any underline. And then the font size 20 pixels. Yup, it is. And also line height, line spacing, letter spacing to. I just want to decrease the letter spacing. Let me just give it some minus value. Okay. So letter spacing actually means the spacing between the letters. I just wanted to remove, decrease little bit of letter spacing, and next thing I want to have them some sort of margin right of 10 pixels, and let me just increase it to 20 pixels. Better. Not looking that great. I think this much is good enough, and I think the font size is little small here, and the thicker the font is. So font size is I think 15 pixels, 17, and font weight to 500. Better. Okay, we are close, not that much, but I feel like we are. And obviously, we are trying to clone the Apple website. It's going to be a little tricky to do that. They are very secretive about their fonts and colors and everything. Okay, right. I just want to have a little bit of margin top for the anchors. Margin top of 10 pixels. तीन अपनी वेबसाइट यार अपनी कौन सी है अपनी ही भूल जा रहा हूँ मैं 5500 and 30. Yeah, in that case I have to grab the division directly inside the header, grab the div, and let me just give it or you can just give, instead of this, let me just give the paragraph a bottom margin bottom of 20 pixels. Okay, now it's good. Now I can increase the font size. Font size is super small. Let's just make it 20. And the font sizes for the paragraph is I think 24. 5. Okay, you can just play with this with these values, and you can just find a proper value here. Right now, let me just decrease the margin top to negative 10 pixel, so it will be little closer to the top here. Okay, I'm satisfied for now. I'm literally satisfied for now. You can change it. You can later change the values as you like. but I think it's good enough. Like even though we don't have the proper font, but it's looking great. Okay. And now let's see what was the next thing. First thing, let me just change the title, and we will also add the icon. But for now, let me just change the title. So we are having this day one here, and just tell me how we can change the title. I need to change the title of our this from day one to the Apple. Just can you guess me? How is getting that suggestion? Because how you took the font? Yeah. So I actually just did right click here, inspect, and it will show you the complete HTML and the CSS inside this website. So it's a way by which you can basically see the code inside any website here. And then it will have two sections here. So the first section will show you the HTML, and this inside this you will have this styles tab. Here you can see the style. You can select any element that you want to. So suppose I just want to get the styling for the snap bar. Just click right click here, inspect, and now you are getting the snap bar. In the style, you can filter the things that you want. Suppose I just want to get the background color. So this is the background color they are using. And suppose I want to see the color. So this is the color, and let's say font family, and this is the font family they are using. So that's this is how I took the color. So colors actually obviously they should be same, so that so that it will look exactly same as that. Now let me just create the second section, and it's going to be very difficult to get this image. So again, let me just get the image here, right click, inspect. Let me just put this. So this thing is actually an image that you're seeing, animation, but not some normal image obviously. Okay, just open this. So there was some animation before this. So this is what I'm looking for. Inspect here. Then mm, remove the font family. Mm, Let me open this. It's actually a iframe unit wrapper video content. Okay, so it's not an image, it's a video. Let me just open this. Yep, so it's actually a video they are using. So this is a video, I think. Yeah, so it's actually a video, and to use the video we have to use a new tag here, which is video tag. So after this, let me create another division like this. Inside the division we have some content. Yeah, by the way, you people were telling me how we can change the title from day one to the Apple. Just tell me, and till then let me just write all this stuff. We have a h1. I think this video is the background color. Oh no, they were using a proper video tag here. Video tag, and let me just write the src here like this. And then the next thing, so this is the video I'm again getting, and it's too wide and too width widey, so we have to fix that as well. And so let me just grab, and I'm going to make it a section, right? So I'm just going to let's just give it a div, like why to use all the semantic tags. So it's a div, and let me just give it an id of second section one, section tion 1 here, section 1. Let me just copy this. Let's just grab the section 1, and inside section 1 let me just give it a height of 100 vh, width of 100 vw, and I think that's it. So this is what more than enough. And inside this, grab the video, any video element that you have inside of this. Let me just give this properties. Okay, and it's again too huge. Video 100 pixels, 100 pixels, and object property cover. I haven't used video property and that much, so I have to see like how they work. Video HTML. Let's see how this video thing works. So yeah, we have to provide the width and all directly here. So let's just do this. So as our attribute, we have to provide the width and height, and I think that's it. Inside the source, you're going to have the source. So we have our source already, and I think that's it. Hmm. Okay, so this is the video we are getting. Instead of let me just increase the width to 700 and height to 700. I could have given the single value as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe yeah. So these properties are actually acting width of 100% and height of 100% and object fit to cover. Okay, so we got our image here, and we also have to play it. So I think there is also some content which can autoplay. Yeah, so we have to write this autoplay so that it can automatically start playing. So let's just also add it here. But it's not getting autoplayed. इतना ही है क्या video? Let me play this. So this is the image and it's working. We'll see that how why it's not getting played automatically. So here I can see that we just have to provide the autoplay property, and instead of this source and all, it's better for me to use the proper syntax here inside this source and like this. And for the source attribute, let me just write this. This is how we do all the coding. Okay, so now it is getting played. Yeah. So the second part is also done, and I think next problem will be to put these things actually. So these things on the top of video. So this is what we want. For that we have to learn about new property which is called as the position. So position we have to learn about here. So we have our video. So this is the video, and it was actually getting autoplayed. It should get autoplayed, but again it's not working. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so once you will save it, it will work. And for the next thing, I just want to put this content. So this content on the top of the video. For that, we will use the position absolute or position fixed. Position absolute, actually, we are going to use the position absolute. But I don't feel like we have enough time left for today. And like this is what we have created today. So let me just change the title as well from day one to Apple. But now the problem will be it will be little bit difficult for me to see which one is original and which one is not. Yeah, so that's it for today. Like in tomorrow's session we are going to continue with this our challenge to create a clone for this, and we'll understand like this video element, like it's how it works. Like suppose you encounter some element or something that you haven't seen before, just see the documentation. It's very easy. So I just saw the documentation. Okay, so this is how, like I have used it, but I just forgot how we use the video tag and all. Just see the documentation how it works, and that's it. And what we will do in the next session, so we have to create this watch part, then we will create these two sections, and I think then we have some four cards here, so we'll do that as well. And for the slider, so this slider will be a little tricky without the JavaScript. Let's see if we can pull this trick off. And this section is very very simple. So this footer just have some text and all. So we'll do that. And tomorrow we will cover this nav bar. First of all, we will fix this. Then we will create some more sections and we'll make these links properly working. So right now these links are not working. So we'll make these links properly working and all. Yeah. So that's it for today's session, and I will see you tomorrow. And in the tomorrow session, it's going to be like tomorrow is I think the last day. So tomorrow we'll complete this now. Okay. So bye bye. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.